The morning sun cast long shadows across Pemberton Academy's manicured lawn as I parked my 10-year-old Subaru between a Maserati and a Bentley. Through the windshield, I could see the PTA's welcome tent, strategically placed to screen arrivals at the Fall Fundraising Gala prep meeting. "This area is for successful parents only," Victoria Ashford-Hayes' voice carried across the parking lot before I even reached the tent. The PTA president stood guard like a designer-clad sentinel, her Hermès bag swinging as she directed traffic with the efficiency of someone who'd married into wealth and wielded it like a weapon. "Excuse me?" I paused at the entrance to the tent, where a velvet rope separated the VIP parent lounge from the general seating area. Victoria's eyes swept over my simple cardigan and khakis, her nose wrinkling slightly. "Oh, Mrs. Stone, isn't it? Oliver's mother? The regular parent area is over there." She gestured toward a cluster of folding chairs by the maintenance shed. "The VIP section is reserved for our premium donors, Platinum Circle and above." "I see," I said mildly. "And the qualifications for Platinum Circle?" "Annual contributions of $100,000 or more," she recited, clearly enjoying this, "plus active participation in our fundraising initiatives. It's really for established families who understand Pemberton's standards." Behind her, I recognized several faces from Oliver's class. Madison Wellington, whose husband ran a hedge fund, Brittany Chin Morrison, pharmaceutical heiress, Jennifer Blackwell, married to a senator. They sipped champagne at 10 in the morning while discussing their vacation homes. "Mom," Oliver jogged over from the soccer field, his practice uniform grass-stained and authentic in a way that made him stand out among his professionally styled peers. "You made it." "Of course, sweetheart." I ruffled his hair, ignoring Victoria's disapproving look at my public display of affection. "Mrs. Stone was just finding her way to the general seating," Victoria informed him with a smile that suggested I was something to be scraped off her Louboutin. Oliver frowned. "But why?" "Mom's going to sit wherever I'm assigned," I interrupted gently. "Go finish practice. I'll see you after." He shot me a confused look but jogged back to his team. I'd worked hard to keep him grounded, to ensure he didn't know the full extent of our resources. The last thing I wanted was a child who thought his worth came from his trust fund. "Smart boy," Victoria commented, "though I do worry about his social development. He seems to gravitate toward the scholarship students, children choosing friends based on character rather than bank accounts." I said. "How concerning." The sarcasm flew over her professionally styled head. "Exactly. I'm glad you understand. Perhaps we could discuss getting him more involved with the right crowd. The Wellington boys are having their birthday at the country club next month. I could perhaps arrange an invitation." "Despite," she gestured vaguely at my entire existence. "Despite what?" "Well, you know," she leaned in conspiratorially, "your circumstances, single mother, that tiny house in Brookline, driving that vehicle. We all understand that divorce can be difficult financially." I almost laughed. My tiny house in Brookline was a deliberate choice, a modest colonial that fit our needs without screaming wealth. The divorce she mentioned had left me with more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, thanks to prenups and my own business ventures, but I'd learned that true wealth whispered, and mine was practically mute. "I manage," I said simply. "I'm sure you do." Her condescension dripped like honey. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to greet the actual donors. The meeting will start soon. There's coffee in the general area, the industrial kind. I'm afraid, but it's free." I made my way to the folding chairs, where several other unsuccessful parents nodded in solidarity. A father I recognized from Oliver's robotics club offered me his seat. "First time being Victoria'd?" he asked with a wry smile. "Is that what they call it? Being sorted into the unworthy pile?" "Yeah, she did the same thing to me last year when I showed up in my plumber's uniform. Apparently, honest work doesn't qualify for the VIP treatment." "Shocking," I said, accepting his offered seat. "I'm Emma, by the way. Marcus, my daughter Zoe is in Oliver's class. She talks about him all the time, says he's the only kid who doesn't care that we live in an apartment. Oliver's good that way." I watched my son on the field, passing the ball to a scholarship student while the coach yelled about teamwork. The meeting began with Victoria taking the stage, her PowerPoint presentation gleaming with corporate polish. "Welcome, Pemberton families. As you know, our Fall Gala is our premier fundraising event. Last year, we raised $2.3 million. Polite applause from the VIP section. Golf claps really. This year, she continued, we're aiming even higher. $3 million to fund critical improvements to our already exceptional facilities." "What improvements?" called out a voice from the general seating. Victoria's smile tightened. "Various enhancements to maintain our competitive edge." "Now, For our premium donors, she launched into a detailed breakdown of benefits, VIP table placement, recognition in the program, exclusive principal's dinner. The general parents would get their names in small print. Maybe. The principal rushed over. Mrs. Stone, the new science wing you funded is ready for your inspection. Principal Davidson burst through the tent flaps like a man on a mission, slightly out of breath. His usually composed demeanor cracked with excitement. The entire assembly turned to stare. Victoria's presentation clicked to a halt. Principal Davidson, we're in the middle of. I apologize for the interruption, he said, not sounding sorry at all, but I've just received confirmation from the contractors. Mrs. Stone, the Emma Stone Science and Innovation Center is complete. Your $15 million gift has transformed our capabilities. Would you like to tour it before the ribbon cutting? The silence that followed was absolute. You could have heard a Cartier watch tick. 15 million? Victoria's voice cracked. Oh yes, Principal Davidson beamed, apparently oblivious to the social nuclear bomb he'd just detonated. Mrs. Stone is Pemberton's largest benefactor, hasn't she told you? In addition to the science wing, she funded the entire scholarship program, the arts center renovation, and the new athletic complex. Nearly $30 million in total over the past 3 years. I stayed seated on my folding chair, watching the blood drain from Victoria's face. I prefer anonymous donations, I said quietly, but the contractors needed a name for the building permits. Anonymous? Madison Wellington had found her voice. But you drive a Subaru. It has excellent safety ratings. You live in that small house, Brittany added, as if this were a personal betrayal. It's cozy. You shop at Target, Jennifer accused. They have great sales. Victoria's mouth opened and closed like a fish at feeding time. But I told you the VIP section was for successful parents only. You did. I agreed. Your definition of success seems rather narrow, though. Marcus, the plumber from the general seating, started laughing, genuinely laughing. You let her sort you into the cheap seats when you could buy the whole damn school? Money doesn't make someone worthy of respect, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Every parent here is successful if they're raising kind, thoughtful children. VIP sections based on bank accounts? That's exactly the wrong lesson to teach our kids. Mrs. Stone, Principal Davidson continued, still blissfully unaware of the social carnage. About the dedication ceremony, the mayor will be attending, along with several university presidents interested in our new STEM partnerships. Will 3 o'clock work? That's fine, I said, though I'd like to keep it low-key. Low-key? He laughed. It's the largest private donation to a K-12 institution in the state. The press will be. Principal Davidson, I interrupted gently, perhaps we could discuss this privately? Mrs. Ashford-Hayes was in the middle of her presentation. He blinked, finally noticing the frozen tableau of shocked parents. Oh, yes, of course, my apologies, carry on, Victoria. He retreated, but the damage was done. Victoria stood at her podium, presenter remote trembling in her manicured hand, facing a completely transformed audience. The general seating parents were whispering excitedly. The VIP section looked like they'd been collectively slapped. That is, Victoria struggled to restart. The Fall Gala will raise $3 million, I said helpfully, a worthy goal. I'll match whatever you raise. More gasps. Someone in the VIP section actually dropped their champagne. You'll match? Victoria's voice was strangled. Of course, education matters, though I do have one condition. Anything? The word burst out before she could stop it. No more VIP sections. No more premium donor lounges. No more separating parents based on their perceived success. I stood, addressing the room. Every parent here loves their child. Every parent here contributes what they can. Some write checks. Some volunteer hours. Some raise kids who make other kids feel welcome regardless of their circumstances. All of it matters. But the big donors expect recognition. They'll get it. In the annual report, on the donor wall, at the appropriate ceremonies, but not through velvet ropes and segregated seating that teaches our children that human worth is measured in dollars. Oliver had finished practice and was jogging over, sweaty and happy. Mom, Coach says I made varsity. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I hugged him, not caring about the grass stains transferring to my cardigan. Mrs. Stone, Victoria tried again, her entire worldview reshaping in real time. I had no idea. If I'd known. That's exactly the point, I said. You shouldn't need to know someone's net worth to treat them with respect. The plumber whose daughter is best friends with my son? The single dad who works 3 jobs to afford tuition? The grandmother raising her grandkids on Social Security? They all deserve the same courtesy you'd show to someone with a platinum card. Can we see the science building now? Oliver asked, bouncing with excitement. Zoe says it has a real electron microscope. It has 12. Actually, Principal Davidson said, returning with pamphlets, and a clean room, and a robotics lab. And, can Zoe come? Oliver interrupted. And Marcus? And Tommy? And, anyone who wants to see it can come, I said, looking directly at Victoria. No VIP tours. Science is for everyone. The general seating parents immediately stood, eager to see the building they'd been hearing about. The VIP section remained frozen, processing this reversal of their careful hierarchy. I suppose, Victoria said weakly, we should all go see this generous gift. It's not my gift, I corrected. It's the community's gift. I just wrote the check. As we walked toward the gleaming new building, Marcus fell into step beside me. That was beautiful, he said quietly, watching her face when she realized she'd been gatekeeping someone who could buy and sell her husband's hedge fund. It's not about that, I said. It's about Oliver and Zoe and all the other kids watching us. What do we want them to learn? That worth comes from bank accounts or from character? Still, he grinned. It was satisfying. I allowed myself a small smile, maybe a little. The Science Center was everything I'd hoped, state-of-the-art but welcoming, with collaborative spaces and quiet corners, designed for discovery rather than showing off. Oliver and his friends immediately scattered to explore, their excitement genuine and infectious. Mrs. Stone, Victoria approached tentatively, her entire demeanor changed. I owe you an apology. You owe everyone in general seating an apology, I corrected. I'm just the only one who could afford to make the point dramatically. She flushed. You're right. I've been horrible, haven't I? Sorting people like their credit scores instead of parents. The question is what you'll do differently now. She straightened, some of her composure returning. Restructure the entire PTA system. No more tiers. No more VIP anything. Just parents supporting their kids' education however they can. That's a start. And I'll step down as president. She added quietly. Someone else should lead. Someone who understands that community matters more than committees. I studied her face, seeing genuine remorse. Or you could stay and do better. Use your organizational skills for inclusion instead of exclusion. Your choice. She nodded slowly. I'll think about it. Oliver ran over, dragging Zoe and 3 other kids. Mom, there's a telescope that can see Saturn's rings. Can we stay after school to use it? If it's okay with your parents, I said, looking at the other adults who'd gathered, plumbers and CEOs, single parents and traditional families, all watching their children's joy with the same love. Mrs. Stone, Principal Davidson appeared again. The mayor's office called. They want to do a press conference about the donation. Talk about public-private partnerships in education. No press conferences, I said firmly. The building speaks for itself. Let it be about the students, not the donor. But, Principal Davidson, how many of our students are on scholarship? 40%, he said proudly. Thanks to your funding. Good. Then let's make sure those 40% never feel like they're worth less than the full tuition students. No velvet ropes, no VIP sections, no general seating by the maintenance shed, just kids learning together. He nodded, understanding. Of course, that's why you've always insisted on anonymity, isn't it? So Oliver wouldn't be treated differently? So no child would be treated differently based on their parents' circumstances. I corrected. Oliver knows we're comfortable. He doesn't need to know the specifics. What he needs to know is that kindness matters more than cash. Mom, Oliver called out, can we have my birthday party here? In the planetarium? Everyone could come. Everyone? I asked. Yeah, the whole class. And their families. It would be so cool. I looked at Victoria, whose face had gone through another transformation. The old Victoria would have pointed out that everyone included scholarship kids, apartment dwellers, single parents working multiple jobs. The new Victoria just nodded. That sounds wonderful, she said. The PTA could help organize it. Make it a real community event. With no VIP section? I asked. Testing. With no VIP section, she confirmed. Just families celebrating together. As the tour wound down and parents began collecting their children, I noticed something different. The invisible barriers had started dissolving. A hedge fund manager was exchanging numbers with an electrician, planning a playdate. A senator's wife was getting coffee shop recommendations from a single mom. Small changes, but changes nonetheless. Mrs. Stone? Zoe appeared at my elbow, shy but determined. Thank you for the science lab. Dad says I can use the equipment for my invention. What are you inventing? Her eyes lit up. A water purification system for developing countries. Oliver's helping with the electronics. That sounds amazing. Let me know if you need anything. She beamed and ran back to Oliver, who was explaining something complex to a growing crowd of kids. No velvet ropes there, just children sharing knowledge regardless of their parents' bank accounts. Victoria approached one last time as we prepared to leave. The Fall Gala, would you be willing to co-chair? Help us restructure it to be truly inclusive? Ask Marcus, I suggested. The plumber you relegated to general seating. He has a degree in event management. Did you know that? Ran corporate conferences before he started his own plumbing business. But you never asked. She winced. I have a lot of apologizing to do. Then start now. He's right over there. As I walked Oliver to our sensible Subaru, past the luxury cars that suddenly seemed more burden than blessing, he slipped his hand into mine. Mom, why didn't you tell Mrs. Ashford-Hayes about the donations? She was being really mean. Because proving someone wrong isn't the same as teaching them to be right, I said. She needed to learn that every parent has value. If she'd known about the money from the start, she would have just added me to her VIP list without changing her thinking. But she made you sit in the bad chairs. They weren't bad chairs. They were just chairs with good people in them. I squeezed his hand. Besides, what matters more, where you sit or who you stand up for? He thought about it as we drove home. Who you stand up for? Exactly. And today you stood up for your friends by inviting everyone to your party. That matters more than any donation I could make. Mom? Yeah? I love our small house. I smiled. Me too, kiddo. Me too. Behind us, the Emma Stone Science and Innovation Center gleamed in the afternoon sun, full of children who would learn that discovery didn't care about your parents' net worth. And somewhere in that building, Victoria Ashford-Hayes was learning the same lesson, that success wasn't measured in dollars but in the community you built and the kindness you showed. It was a $15 million lesson. Worth every penny.